Hey everybody, Mark Price here at devslopes.com, and today we are going to build nothing at all. We're going to code in the playground though. Maybe you got excited, you're like, are we going to build our first iOS app? I'm sorry, I tricked you. Let me open a new playground here. Move it on over to this screen. Okay, playground, and we're going to call this one Array Me Array. Okay, we're going to talk about arrays today. And an array is an incredibly important data structure and foundational data structure that you need to learn. So we're going to call this arrays. I'm going to save it right in there. So let's talk about why we need arrays. So let's say that we have an app and it manages our employees. Okay, and our employees all have a salary. Let's say it's a salary manager. So let's say we've got var employee 1 salary. Okay, and let's say it equals $45,000 a year. You know, var employee 2 salary equals $54,000. Dollars a year, right? Var employee 3 salary equals $100,000 a year. Var employee 4 salary equals $20,000 a year. This dude's an intern. He ain't getting paid nothing. All right. So we got 4 employees here. Okay, so cool. You know, we got a list of data here, but what if I need to work with things, or what if I need to fire somebody? Okay, how do I get rid of this? Well, this isn't really helpful, is it? These are just 4 variables. We had to write a lot of code over and over and over again. And we have 4 employees here. Maybe it makes sense to structure this in a slightly better way. And we can do that. We can do something, we can create something called an array. And so, to declare array, you can, of course, use a constant or a variable. In our case, we'll use a variable so we can change it around. And we can just call it employees. Or better yet, employee salaries. All we care about is the salaries right now. So what we can do is we can say 45,000.o, comma, 54,000, comma, 100,000, comma, 20. Okay, so what we've just done here is we've created an array of type int that has 4 elements in it. Those are all proper terms. An array has X amount of elements in it. Okay, and again, this is an array of type int. And so you create one, you can create an array initialized with data right from the get-go by putting the left square bracket and the right square bracket, or brace, the left brace and the right brace. Okay, and for terms, those are braces and these are brackets technically. People do say them interchangeably, and sometimes I make mistakes, but just know these are brackets and these are braces. Okay, and then you separate the values in the array with a comma. What would happen if I tried putting a string in one of these elements here? Interesting. Is it yelling at me? No, it's not. Okay, but what if I say this array has to be of type int? Now it's yelling at me. Oh, interesting. Int can't be used with an array literal. So when I did this, it worked. But when I put an int in front of it, it did not. That's because you can store various types in an array. But if you want to explicitly declare a type of an array, it must all have the exact same type. In our case, we want it to be integers. Okay. Or excuse me, these aren't integers. These are doubles because of the 0.0 at the end. Okay. So pretty cool, right? So that's how we create an array, and we can do different things with an array. Let's say we want to add a new employee. Well, rather than creating a whole new variable, employee 5, we could just go do something like this: employee salaries. There it is. Dot append. Let's add a new employee salary, and let's make this one $39,000. $39,000 and 34 cents a year. So what we've just done is we've added a 5th element to the array, which I think is pretty cool. So at this point, we can actually print some things here. We can print the count. So employee salaries dot count at this point in time is 4. And by the way, if you see this N here, it means new line. It's creating a new line for us, so the next thing prints on the next line. That's why it's there. You don't need to worry about it. Okay? And then let's print it after we've added employee salaries dot count. Okay? And it now has 5. There we go. So it now has 5. Okay? And the dot count is a property. It's a variable, but it's called a property of an array, and it will tell you how many elements are in the array. And this dot is actually calling a function, as you can see with the left parentheses and the right parentheses, and you can append an element into that array. Now, if this array is a double, okay, am I able... Oh, it didn't like that very much, did it? Why is it yelling at me? Oh, my bad. There we go. So the type is double. When it's a type of double or array, you put the braces around it. Okay. So here, if I wanted to append a string, okay, like so, it shouldn't let me because it's expecting a double. All right. So now what we've done up here is we've given an explicit type. This is an array. See the braces of type double, and boom, there you have it right there. That's pretty cool. You can also do different things as well too. Let's see if we can specify it like this. Interesting. It's letting us define it a different way. And this is the exact same thing as we did before. Okay, except just using different syntax. Array of type double. The more common way is this. Okay? And then we've appended it. What if I want to remove an element? Let's say we just fired employee number 2. So this one right here. How do we get rid of this employee? Well, we can just say employee salaries dot remove at, and it wants the index, and we're going to say 1. You're like, wait a minute, we're not getting rid of the first employee, we're going to get rid of the second employee. What's going on? Well, here's a secret I'm going to tell you, and it's not a secret at all. So it's not a secret. And you need to know this because it is so important. Arrays start at 0. Every array in pretty much every programming language always starts at 0. So the 0 index is number 1. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, very important. So to get rid of employee 2, we say 1. And this may be confusing at first, but always, if you get confused, always just basically, if you want to start at 1, start at 1. But then remember, you need a -1 because it starts at 0. Okay, so we removed an employee. So now, let's say I print the employee salaries dot count. It should now be back at 4. See, it's gone. So you can add things to an array. You can remove things from an array. An array should be used whenever you need a collection of something to be together. It's a collection. That's what it is. A collection of things. Okay, you know. So similarly, you know, if I was a teacher in a classroom, which I am, you might have a list or an array of students, right? So students, okay. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to just create an empty array. So what you do is you put the square braces, or just the braces with the type in it, and then you put the parentheses at the end. Remember, this is an equal sign. So what this is doing is it's creating an empty array of type string. So if I print the count, print students.count, it should be 0. Okay, this is really important that you initialize an array. So if I was to do this, var students student list 2, okay, and I just said it's an array of type string like that, and then if I try to do something like this, student list 2 dot append, and we say John Adams, let's see what happens. We have a crash. This will crash your app. Variable student list 2 passed by reference before being initialized. What that means is you have not initialized it. This has just been declared. Okay, not initialized. This one is initialized. This one is not. Okay, as you can see by the parentheses here. And this would actually crash your application. So you always must initialize an array before you can actually use it. And the same goes for variables, any type of variable. Okay, so this is no bueno. Okay, so we've now crashed our program. See, I told you it was going to crash. I think it crashed for different reasons, but so now we can add students, right? Students.append, you know, we say John, students.append, Jacob, students.append, Jose, students.append, Jingle, students.append, Crash. That was great. All right, students.append, Heimer. Now this may seem like, what are you doing? A lot of stuff here, but this actually saves us a lot of code in the end by using arrays versus creating a bunch of different variables. So anyway, we've got, I just wanted to show you this cool little pyramid here of what happens when you add things. So we got 1 element, 2 elements, 3 elements, 4 elements, 5, and 6, okay? Let's say we want to get rid of Jose because he's clearly not part of this song, or I mean the student list. So we can just say, yeah, what is he talking about song? Don't you remember from grade school? John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Smith. Well, you're like, you guys are like stupid American. They didn't teach that where you're from. I get it. I get it. Well, we want to remove Jose because he doesn't belong in the song. So which index should we get rid of? Tell me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6? If you said 2, that's right. Because 2, 0, 1, 2. So Jose is no longer in our song. And now if I print the array, let's say just students. John, Jacob, Jingleheimer, Smith. Boom. Okay, so lots of fun things you can do with an array. And if you want to see all the things that are available for you, we can just command click append here. And it's going to take us to the documentation. And you can do different things, different type of append functions, remove the last element, insert a new element, add an index, remove an element, add an index, remove all. Okay, a whole bunch of things you can do with arrays, and we've just barely scratched the surface. And arrays are also commonly used hand in hand with loops, which we haven't talked about yet, but you'll see that to come. So it's a collection of data, allows you to work with different things. And so think plural when you think of an array. So you have a list of students, make an array. A list of teachers, make an array. A list of anything, make an array. And now you're starting to think of better ways to reorganize your code rather than doing stuff like this. Okay? Start using arrays, these collection types. And that's it. There's so much more to go into arrays, but this is the basic foundational building blocks that'll help you move forward. Mark Price at devslopes.com. Stay tuned for our exciting next episode.